looking at here is, if we think of the recent shootings, the recent package bombs, if you go back to Columbine and the other shootings, one of the things people immediately jump to is like, oh, the person was mental ill. Should we be looking at mental illness? And how do we define that? How do we look at that? We have the expert with us and can share with us on some of that topic in terms of legal consequences and legal ramifications of taking that, or what determines whether somebody is mentally ill in a legal case, a legal situation, or should we be looking at that underdeveloped personality where you're driven by your ego? Your ego says, your id says, do it, and without consequence, you do something impulsive, and then later you regret what you did. Okay? So that's what we're looking at. What do you think in these recent scenarios? Should we be looking at the person automatically thinking that they're mentally ill, or should we look more deeply at personality development?
I feel like the term mentally ill is being abused more so because it's a lot of people of the Caucasian descent of using the term mental illness, because every time you turn around it's a white person doing it. They blame it on mental illness. I feel as if it's more on the underdeveloped personality side.
And I'm gonna let you give us some background on that in just a sec. Tony, do you have your hand up? Oh, you lost your voice. Okay.
And not only that, a lot of the recent shootings, they haven't been bullied home.
Okay. All right. So there's no history in mental illness. Now, if you want to share some of the criteria for, and you can tell us a little bit, tell us your position with the city of New Orleans and the court systems in determining whether a person is actually mentally ill when they do the defense of not guilty by reason of insanity. Okay, so somebody has to do the evaluation, and this office does that. So you want, and Dillard alone. All right. So you can tell us what class you were, Dillard.
Yeah, I'm a class of 2002 at Dillard University, and so it's always good to be home. I work. I'm a forensics counselor, and I work at the forensic aftercare clinic. So it's a part of Jackson. Anybody from Louisiana? Yeah. Okay, so Jackson, Louisiana is the crazy house, right? It's the mental hospital. So when anyone is declared incompetent, which means they don't understand the legal process or their legal rights, or they have a mental illness that has prevented them from understanding their legal rights, they're declared incompetent to stand trial, and I see them either in the jail or at my clinic, not my clinic, at the clinic, or at the prisons or at their home sometimes. As it relates to the people shooting up schools, it's really on an individual basis, but I want to be clear that a psychopath or a sociopath, those are not mental health diseases. That's a personality disorder. Right? So the guy who shot up the synagogue, he may be perfectly sane, he may not have any mental health diagnosis, so he wouldn't be incompetent to stand trial or anything like that. So, but again, as the sister pointed out, it is a great excuse that is applied to a certain demographic. I'm Muslim. Whenever a Muslim does something, we're terrorists, right? A regular black guy does something, he's just a thug or a criminal, and a white guy shoots up a synagogue, he's
mentally ill.
Other comments? Yeah.
I feel as though not only like a personality disorder or like a mental illness disorder, like other people in the world play a big part in your life, and some people allow other people to play a part in their life. Like I'm really not good with the Bible, but I think it's like bad character corrupts good judgment, or something like so. Like the Columbine shooting or stuff like that. Like that person probably could have been influenced by that, and he probably felt like, oh, well, he got away with it, so maybe I can get away with it too. So not only does yourself or like mental illness, other people can play a part in that also.
So one of the things that we're looking at here, or talking about, and we'll have to do a wrap up. One would be, as we have conversations about, is social justice when it comes to declarations of mental illness. And so whether it's in the court system, as we're looking at different socioeconomic levels, whether someone's wealthy, whether they're poor, whether they're black, Latino, or white, all of those things we have to look at and say standardize across our society. When we have the people who are making the determination, what is the background of those individuals, and can we be sensitive? We call those implicit biases to, you know, the culture and background of those particular individuals, and then what are the criterion for determining whether somebody is a sociopath as compared to mental illness. Okay? So those are things. Others that we brought out in here, these parts of our personality, the ego, are being formed very early in life. So as you go into parenting, those of you who want to become pediatricians, those of you who may, not knowing right now, become teachers, because I had no idea I would be a teacher when I was a freshman, but you begin to look at the socialization of children. And so their brains and their personalities are being formed by age of 5 and becoming set. Although we can do some rewiring of personalities, but it's very important that we mentor and that we teach our children, hell, we don't hit, we don't do this, we don't do that, as compared to oftentimes we kind of laugh at them, oh, that's so cute. Then about the time they're 8, we're trying to correct them, but the personality is already set.